The number of adults receiving mental health treatment skyrocketed throughout the pandemic. That's according to the CDC. For the first time, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force suggests adults under 65 get screened for anxiety. Danielle Harper is a licensed clinical mental health counselor with Novant Health. She says there are major consequences to not addressing anxiety.
Oftentimes when anxiety is not addressed, it impacts not only like our mental health, it impacts our bodies. So that means cardiovascular disease can increase, kidney disease can increase.
Harper says two of the most common types of screenings are for general anxiety disorder and depression. She says patients are typically given a questionnaire where they are rated on how anxiety is impacting their daily living on a scale of 1 to 10.
It may ask domains of work, family relationships. Some other areas may be interpersonal relationships. And so it wants to see how it's impacting that, and then they score it. And based on your score, it determines on how high anxiety symptoms you may have. And then they may determine on like what kind of treatment you may need based on your score.
As many continue to battle stressors brought on by the pandemic, Harper says it's important to recognize what your body tells you.
Well, recognize what your body is telling you. I think oftentimes people don't realize anxiety is one of those things that can sneak up on you. And so paying attention, if you notice you're more irritable than normal, if you notice that you're being more, if you're socially isolating more than normal, if you're avoiding situations, just recognize those things that seem to be a little bit more off than normal.
Harper says you can reach out to your primary care doctor for an anxiety screening. I don't know if you all have ever taken advantage of some type of online mental health, tool or something of that nature, but usually before you schedule an appointment, they give you one of these screenings. They ask you, have you been sleeping lately? Have you been irritable? And then they have you, do medium, fair or extreme, things of that nature, like a check-in type of thing.
Wonder if primary physicians should, in the annual checkup, should always do some sort of a screening.
And that's what they're hoping will happen.
Because if you did that, and even if it's just a questionnaire you fill out before you get in there with the doc, and they see enough nose checked or whatever, and then they could recommend you that, hey, we think you might need to talk to this person.
Because I think when people hear mental health or anxiety, they're like, I don't have that.
Right.
But a lot of us stress, and you might not understand, like, that is anxiety that you're dealing with. And, maybe you could talk to someone or take a certain medication that can help you out in your situation.
I think part of the problem is, too, that us, specifically as men, are raised to, hey, you got a lot of stressors in your life, you got to deal with it. You got to tough it out. You just, roll with the punches and do the best that you can. But obviously, not everybody can live by that mantra.
And culturally, too, even beyond gender, I think in a lot of cultures and communities, it's like, what do you mean you're sad? Shake that off. You shouldn't be sad about this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So.